Okay, welcome. This is some tips and tricks on how to get organized using technology. You can see the bit.ly link that you can follow along on this presentation. There's going to be quite a few slides that I'm actually going to skip in this presentation just for the time restraints. So if this is something you want to refer back to, I recommend that you grab that link at the bottom of the screen here so you can follow along. All right, so I am an instructional technology coach. My name is Carrie Moeggenberg, and I'm with Ludington Area School District. I am a MACUL Learning Area Delegate for Tech and Education, and my Twitter handle is cmoegi1. Because again, we're not going to go over everything in detail. I'm not going to have time to demo every single one of these tips. If you see the icon that looks like this on the screen, go ahead and click on that, and it's going to take you to a YouTube video to help walk you through how to do that particular tip. So we're going to start with mostly Google tools and how they can actually help you. And I know a lot of districts do use Google, so I wanted to make sure that some of the tips in here related to things that the teachers are using. And with Google, it can easily become overwhelming. You can end up with your inbox being just huge, or your Google Drive being very cluttered. So I wanted to give some tricks that I use to help kind of make it a little more organized. So one of the things I really like is to look at the different inbox types. So there's priority inbox, important first, and starred first. So you can do a bunch of different inbox types and you can play around with those. I'm going to show you here in a second where to find that particular setting. And you can kind of toggle between a few of them just to see which one you like. So to change your inbox view, I'm going to actually step out of here. I'm going to show you in my own personal school district account. So that is right under here. There we go. So if you come over to this settings icon over here, you're going to be able to see some different settings here. So you can actually change it right here with if you want it to be a little less comfortable, compact. So that's going to make it so it has a little more emails showing on your screen. I like the default the best. You can change your theme right in here. And then this is where I do you can do unread first, and that changes it quite a bit. So that's going to put all of my unread emails at the very top, and then all of the rest underneath. So you can play around with that a little bit. One of the things that I really like is the customization of it. So if you hit customize, I like to put these tabs at the top. I get a lot of social media type emails. I also get a lot of promotional emails, being that they're like from vendors and that sort of thing, or subscriptions that I've subscribed to. You can kind of hover over these tabs to see what kind of emails in your actual inbox would go to those particular tabs. So I see here my primary is going to be a lot of the people that are in my district currently. Social, I've got a lot of Twitter stuff going there, and then the promotional stuff is going to be a lot of my PD that I read later. One of the things I really like are filters. So I actually have an email in here that I want to try to filter. So I'm going to just make sure what email address this is. And it looks like it's coming from this right here. I'm going to copy that. Because what I'm going to do now, whoops, I didn't copy the whole thing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into settings again. And I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to say, see all settings. And then at the top, what it's called is a filter. So I'm going to click here and see, I've filtered a lot of them. I actually filtered my school district email to make sure it marks as important. Okay, so you can create a filter by clicking on create new filter. I'm going to paste now that email that I just grabbed. Okay, now what I want, it's from that person. What I want to do is I'm actually going to say create filter. And what I want it to do is I want to apply a label to it. and I'm going to choose that label. So I have one right now that's called PD to read, and it's from that particular sender. So I'm going to click that. That's what I wanted to have it do. I want it to actually apply that label to it. So when I see it, I know that that's who it's from, and it's going to kind of go into that inbox. So now everything that's going to be labeled that way is going to go there. So that's really handy. So now how would I use that as a teacher? Obviously, to do what I just did was a good example. Another one is maybe specific parent emails, specific student emails. Maybe you want all of them filtered into a folder or label off to the side here that is something from your superintendent or something you need to flag right away. So I do that for a few of the different ones. Another thing, let me just go ahead and go back to the slideshow here. Okay, so we changed our inbox view. We messed with that a little bit, the inbox type, and we just learned how to filter messages. You can also do it just by clicking right on that particular email, and you can say filter messages like these, and you can create the filter that way. So of course, Google has it so that you can do things a bunch of different ways. So that's another particular way to do it. Common contacts is how I usually set it up. Different messages that you want to be notified immediately. So here's how you set it up. We just walked through that. There's also a little video down here if you need a recap on how to do that. So one of the tricks that I really like about Gmail is you can actually, in settings, undo send. Now, if you don't have this enabled, it'll just send and you're going to go, oh my goodness, I typed the wrong date. I typed the wrong time. I typed something wrong. There's an error in my grammar. I just realized. If you accidentally send it, you can put on this 30-second delay. So what it's going to look like is down in the bottom corner of your screen, it's going to say undo, and you can actually undo the send. I use this a lot when I kind of look at it again and think, oh, I need to fix something or add something in later on. So that's a really good trick to use. And again, that's found on your settings gear on your main page of your Gmail. Okay, moving on to Google Drive. One of the things I like to do is to color code your folders. So I try to make sure every single folder is colored. And then any folder that's inside that folder is the same color. So let's say, now on mine, it's a little different. I'll show you my Google Drive. And I don't have everything labeled and colored. I have a few colored, but everything that would go inside of it would be colored. So let's say books. If I had in there then all of the different types of books for like English, maybe for a unit, I would then color that particular book a different color. So to do that, all you do is you click on it, you secondary click, and then you're going to say change color. So I can change it any of these particular colors. Maybe I want it brown, and then now that's a color. So that's helpful. Another trick, and you might have noticed, is that I like to use different types of ways to have things go to the top. So books for B shouldn't really be at the top, but because it's an emoji, it's going to move it to the top. So let's say I want this one to go to the top. So I would say rename. Now I would put my cursor in the front here. And one of the tricks on a Mac is if you hit Control Command Space, it'll bring up the emoji keyboard. And I have another site for those that are PC or Windows based. There is another place to do that, and I'll show you in a second. So I might want to put in archive is going to be maybe the green star and say, okay, and that's going to bring it to the top again. Now, another way that I like to do it is you can actually label with numbers. The numerical order is going to go to the top too. So this one, now obviously the emojis overtake that, but the numbers would come next. So that's a good way that if you want something to go to the top, it would do it that way. Emojis are also really nice if you're sharing these folders with non-readers. So for the littles, if you put the emojis in there, you could say, go to the doggy folder, something like that. And that would be really helpful for them. All right, going back here to my presentation. Let me just hit present here. Okay, so moving on. So this is what I just went over for you if you wanted to go to copypastecharacter.com. And then there's also another, I think it's an extension in Google Chrome that you can use. It's an emoji keyboard extension. So that's really nice too. Now I know that you probably noticed that I just did the green star on the archives folder that was in my Google Drive. I recommend cleaning out at the end of the year or during the summer, your Google Drive, and moving some of the student things that were shared with you, maybe old materials that you aren't going to use the next year, kind of clean that up, put it in that archive folder label for that year. That's going to make things in your Google Drive a lot cleaner. So I try to do that every year, or at least have some sort of label for each year. Okay, one of the other good secrets that I like is Google Keep. So Google Keep is a way for you to kind of do like online notes, but it has so much more to offer. It is a web-based, it's also an app for iOS and Android, and it allows you, and then even your students could use it, to create a bunch of things like notes, lists, reminders. You can even share some of the specific notes that you put in there amongst a couple people. So it would be a great way to collaborate on a project based learning type of thing. You can add images, you can add voice notes, drawings. It's kind of like an online sticky note, but there's so much more that it has to offer. So you can use it on the computer and on the app, and it syncs automatically because you're logged in again through your Google account. So Google is cloud-based, so no matter what device you're on, you can open it up there. To-do lists, I like it for that because there's little check boxes, and so it crosses it off, not like removing it when you check it off, but it crosses it off, and I'll show you that in just a second. I like the deadlines, and I like to use it for links to explore later. Let's say I find something, I want to look at it later. I actually have a note that is just like blogs, for instance, that I want to look at later. We're going to go ahead and take a look at mine right now. And I'm going to step out here and grab it in my Google account. All right, so my keep is, let's just keep.google.com. So I have links to explore further. So you can see here, I just took a couple screenshots and I was able to put those in there. I've got some coding resources. So it's really nice. And then you can put labels just like you do with email. So I, a lot of times, will label next year ideas as one of them. I got blog sites to explore as a label. There's a lot of really neat features in here. You can remind, you can put on notifications, add different people to that, add images, and then you can also archive it just like you can email. So if you need to search for it later, there is the search option up here. So I like to use it. There's a couple other really cool things that you can do with it. If you go to the three dots, I can say that I want to copy it to Google Docs. Now, why would I do that? Okay, well, let's think of it maybe as a list that I need to print out. This just makes it really, really easy and clean to print out. So if I copied it to Google Docs, I would be able to then open it in Google Docs and print it right out. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation. There is a Chrome extension also, and I really like that because then if I'm on a website or if I need to save something for later, I just hit that icon for the Google Keep Chrome extension and it saves it right in there. And then I also put the link if you want to try that out. Okay, we talked about copying it to Google Docs. Here's a little video if you want more information on that. All right, moving on to Chrome tips. So Chrome web browser tips. I like to keep my bookmarks bar, clean. I don't need, if I know what the icon, the favicon looks like, I don't need to have the words after it. It just takes up space. So now I can clean it up. And to do that, you right click on the bookmark bar to edit your bookmark bar, and then you get to delete the name. Okay, so that's really cool. There's a little video there to show you how that step works. Pinning the browser is really helpful if you want them to kind of condense. You don't need all the words. It kind of makes it nice. And sometimes when you pin the tabs at the top, they will come back up the next time the same way. Here's another feature that just was released kind of recently, but I like to group my tabs. And as you can see here, when you group your tabs, all you have to do is click on it again. It'll collapse all those tabs together, not having them be open, but then opening them back up when you click on it again. Really, really nice. So I have mine for school related apps, and I can put in my Power School. I can put in any of the other apps that I want to have for school, my Google Drive, and then I click it and it opens it up, but it just makes it so that it doesn't look like you have 110 app or tabs open. So it's really nice. Reopening closed tabs. Here's a shortcut I can't live without. So I use this regularly. Command Shift T or Control Shift T on Windows. It'll reopen any closed tabs that you've accidentally closed. So that's nice if you accidentally hovered or clicked on one of the tabs that you did not mean to do. And it's just a quick shortcut instead of having to go up to the top of the screen.
Will that go back more than one tab if you do it? Because usually it's just the most recently closed tab.
If you keep doing it, that's a really good question. If you keep doing it over and over again, it will go back and back and back as far.
Oh, that's good to know. Because yes, I have that issue too.
Here's some extensions, and I did not have enough room on this page, so I do have more useful Chrome extensions, and that'll open up into a Google Doc that I created with a bunch of different ones. I guess honorable mentions here. I really like Grammarly. There's another one I believe that's in this file at the bottom that's really good. Clipboard History Pro, if you're one of those people that likes to copy links or copy text, what it'll do, you know, sometimes I've copied things and then I get sidetracked and I forget what it was I copied, and then I go to paste it and it's something else I've accidentally copied. So what the clipboard history would be was anything that you've ever copied. So it kind of keeps a nice little record of that. So like if I copied a link last week, let's say, and now I can't find the link, I go to that and I can now locate that link. So just kind of a little handy time saver. Quickly going through Google Calendar, just a couple little things. So if you go to your calendars and you click the three dots, some people don't know this, but you can actually change your notifications that you receive. You click on those three dots and you can say receive an email alert, or you can say you want your notifications to be longer. So that's just how you do that. It's pretty easy. Some people like to have a daily agenda to print out. If that's you, then all you have to do is go to the three dots again, and then go down in that settings to other notification, and you can actually print out a daily agenda. Calendar searching. Now, why would I use this? Well, I've actually had teachers say to me, hey, I can't remember what day this PLC day was, or I need to find this meeting that we had together. Well, all you have to do is search for keywords for who, maybe even who it was with. Locations can even be there, and it's really easy to search. Got a couple other little time savers in here. One of the things that you might not know about is the force make a copy. I do this all the time for my students. We actually are not a Google Classroom district, we're Canvas. So sometimes the teachers, they like to share links, but they want every student to have their own copy of something. So this is how you can actually do that. That's really helpful. So you just copy the whole link, get rid of all of the stuff that is up to that backslash, and write the word copy. And then when you share it out, it's going to come up on the screen and say, would you like to make a copy of this? So when the students do click on that link, it'll ask them, would you like to make a copy? I recently ran into this. The reason I like this as a teacher is because sometimes you get columns that have both first and last name. And did you know that you can actually split those into, and it detects whether it's, if it wants to have a space, or maybe it's, you can see here in this little GIF that I have here, you can do periods or lots of other options there to split those into columns. So it's really nice.
I don't think I was aware of that. So
Yeah.
so if you have, if your listing is last name, comma, space, first name, you could do it by comma, one of those choices there. Well, they built that in there. That's nice, because I always had to look up the code to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a
Nice.
few new things in Google Sheets actually that I've noticed that have been really helpful.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. This is a new one too, I think. You can, so I have a document, let's say, that is shared amongst a bunch of students together, and I want to see who wrote that one particular sentence or who contributed to that particular paragraph. This is just a quick, easy way to do it. You can actually highlight the text itself, and then you can secondary right click and say show edit history. And it's going to actually show you what who it was that typed it. It'll bring up a little people card and it'll show who wrote it. So that's actually kind of neat, and it might be useful as a teacher. Okay, so that was short and sweet, and I actually left a couple minutes for questions if there are any. Again, here's the link to get that presentation if you would like. And again, this is done by MACUL, so thank you for joining us.
So Carrie, I got a couple of things I want to share with you too, that I'll have you steer to do it. If you would go back to your email, I actually just worked with a teacher on this today, and they were going, oh my goodness, I didn't know. So go to your email and just click on compose. And we're going to compose some new email. So whatever it is to whomever it is, it doesn't really matter. But at the bottom of the screen, a lot of people don't realize this. Next to the send, there's a drop down arrow. And the fact that they can choose schedule send, and then go ahead and choose it. Oh, got recipient. All right. Send it to yourself.
Okay.
And then go down and choose that arrow. Schedule send, and it will come up with some recommended things, but you can also pick a date and time right at the bottom. And this is particularly convenient if you want to draft an email and you want it to go out, Sunday night, reminding kids to bring something to class the next morning, kind of thing. You just click on the pick date and time, choose your date, specify your time. And when you do that, it puts it into a folder on your left-hand side, left-hand column that is scheduled send, and it will automatically send out at that point. And I use this a lot so that I can get messages drafted ahead of time and not worry about being at a specific place and time to log in to be able to send it. So I use that frequently. Another thing in the email that I really like is specifically with teachers sending to students or sending to parents where they claim, well, I never saw that email kind of thing. At the bottom right next to the trash can, you have the three dots. If you click on that, you have the option there of requesting a read receipt. And by choosing that, you won't see anything happen other than it applies it to this email. And when somebody does, in fact, when you send it out and they do open that receipt or open that email, you will get an email back in your inbox as part of that thread from that message saying, this person opened it at this specific time. Even if it's multiple people you're sending it to, they will all generate a message back to the original saying, this is the time that this person opened the message. So when people are claiming perhaps that they didn't see the email, you can go back and look and say, yeah, well, you opened it on Thursday at 2:51 p.m. have result, or have that evidence if you needed it. So getting a red receipt is oftentimes very nice. So you don't go through the, I never got the email or that claim kind of thing, especially with students.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Then I guess while we're in here, templates are really nice too. I mean, I get a lot of questions on, hey, I can't get my iPad to work. How do I get it to work? And I have a template that's just how to do a hard restart. So there's that. But yeah, really good tips. Thanks, Dave, so much.
Yeah. So speaking of the templates,
Mhm.
one of the things that I just learned about I use the template, but I can have it auto reply to the message and use the template itself. So
Mhm.
we have an email account in our system, in our technology department, that I logged into just the other day and realized people have been sending messages to this email address seeking tech support, but it's not an email address we monitor. It just simply shows up when they do a tech support tech request. They put it in they type in tech and they see, well, here's one that may work. But we never responded to those emails in there. So
Yeah.
what I did was I created a template and did a filter that auto replied with that template message and sent a message back to them saying, this email inbox is not monitored. If you need help, please use this technique,
Mhm.
kind of thing. I
Yeah.
didn't know that you could do an auto reply with that message. And so I enabled it. And now that anybody who sends to that erroneously is going to get a message saying, whoops, try this one instead.
Is it kind of like a vacation responder, or where do you find that at? Is it in settings?
It's a filter.
It's a filter.
You
Okay.
set it up as I believe that's how I did it. It was,
Okay.
yeah, it was through the filter that I did that.
Yeah, because there's all those options in the filter.
So I had to be in that email inbox, and I said, for instance, if create the filter and say, if it's sent to this inbox, do an auto reply message. How did that work? Yeah,
So you said anything.
no, if it was to that email address. So let's
Yep.
set it up just temporarily. If you put in the put your email address. And then create filter.
And
then what you're going to do is down at the bottom, choose template. Send to template.
there we go. Yep.
And you choose your template, whichever one you want.
Yep.
And gosh, where is it? Yeah, so it's automatic. It's going to send that template back to them. So you choose the template you want. Now you certainly don't want to create that, because everybody who sends a message to you is going to get that.
So yeah, no, but yeah, I like that. I guess I never really played with a lot of the other options. So there's a lot of really good options in here for filtering.
Right. Yep. And I stressed to the person I worked with today too, once you create your filter, don't forget that bottom check box.
Yeah. Also apply the filter to matching conversation.
Yeah, it goes and finds all those others that were already sent to you. So
Perfect.
Anyway, a couple of tips that I had in the mail program just to help a person get organized today.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. And
Sure.
all the tips for mail can be helpful. You see how many I have in my inbox at the moment. So yeah, none of us are perfect.
Nope, not at all.
All right. Well,
All right.
we are a couple minutes over, so I want to end and thank you for joining us this year with our tech snacks. And
We'll call this this one a wrap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Carrie. Great job. Right. Great tips.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Yep, you too. Bye-bye.